Good morning, everyone. I hope you brought your hot drink. It's cooling off.
No.
It's a little, some people don't like hot drinks. I like coffee. I like hot tea. I like hot cocoa. I even drink it in the summer. So, yeah. But um, it is starting to cool off a little bit. We are going to
Hmm.
be doing a special episode about what to do to stay warm if your electricity goes out.
Yep.
How you prepare for power outages and think with the fires and the hurricanes and the snowpocalypse that hit Texas a couple of years, you need to know there were people in my state that were without power for over 2 weeks, and it was minus 15, which I know people up there where Barbara lives, that's kind of a normal temperature.
Yeah.
But down in Dallas and Houston, their cold is 20. So here we get about -1 or 2, and we were minus 15.
Yeah.
So we're a little more prepared for it than the people down south, but it hit hard all over the whole state. And yeah, and don't believe what they tell you about that it's the wind generators froze up. Wind generators don't freeze up.
Yeah.
They had been turned off, and that has
Oops.
been proven. They said it was for maintenance.
Mm.
But we're not even going to go there. I love wind. I love solar when they work. When they don't work, it's not cool. But same thing with all the rest of it.
Right. There's that technology.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So
hi.
I'm Carol Henderson, and I have
Yeah.
Lifeline, and I help you to have the second half of your life be your best. And there's no reason that you can't get better with age, like with fine wine. Of course, if you're
Right.
a man, you might want to be a nice bourbon, but whatever
Hmm.
floats your boat.
Yep.
And I firmly believe you should get healthier and happier as you go through life.
Right.
And that's what I'm here is to help coach you through that, to give you ways and means to do that. So
Right.
I have my wonderful co-host here.
Yes.
We get in more trouble together.
I know. I know. Well, I'm Barbara Ellison. I'm a transformational life trainer. And you know what? Hey, I truly believe that as a senior, we are meant to have fun. You can hardly move it. So I was like, "Oh, okay. So what are we going to do instead?" So she says, "Well, let's go for a walk." Well, near where I live is the Illinois Trail that it used to be the railroad track. So they have taken that railroad track and made it into a walking path that is miles and miles and miles long, all across the state of Illinois. Anyways, so we met in I went in 20 minutes and she came out. Well, we met. We were so proud of ourselves. We walked not quite 3 miles. Beautiful day because this path is tree lined, gorgeous, and it was a beautiful fall day. Well, then, of course, we totally undid it because then we was like, gee, oh, it's a beautiful day here in Illinois. Well, let's go to the apple orchard. Did we get apples? Well, sort of. We got apple cider donuts.
Tell them what you brought home.
They were so good. But then, of course, they have other things. Well, I
Not
brought
sending to
home,
her friend. I told her she has my address. Y'all need to put
I
in the
got
chat.
home.
Put in the chat if you think she should send this stuff she's going to talk about to me. Put it in the chat.
This is you would believe they everything there. It's called, and I'm going to give them a plug. It's Kuiper's Farm. Oh, anyways, but Sherry bought this home fresh from the tree caramel apple. Apple, okay. I wanted the donuts. I ordered two, they gave us three each. We ordered two, they gave us three. I only ate two though. Hmm. But then I went to the next room and they had fudge. Well, I bought this. piece of chewy praline vanilla fudge. It was a layer of fudge, a layer of the praline filling, and another layer of fudge. Oh, brother. Absolutely so good.
To save her from herself. She needs to send it here.
It was so good. And I mean, I only ate a little piece of it, and so I'm going to ration myself. But back, just this is 10 days ago. Well, so one of the things that Carol and I do is we check out the national, the national calendar day. And so, because it's fun. I mean, just to see what people do. Well, we're going to be honest. Today's the 24th. Well, we didn't like the national calendar days of today. But then I said, gee, I wonder what yesterday was. Well, guess what yesterday was? If you don't know, National Boston Cream Pie Day. So, well, that just started us on a whole thing about, okay, what are we going to do to motivate ourselves? Number one, if we do have a piece of, I did not have a piece of pie yesterday. And it was like, oh, brother, I still have a bit of the fudge because I have been good. I have rationed. However, Boston cream pie. So we thought, well, why is it called pie if it's actually a cake? So if any of you know.
Let me say, as a little kid, my dad, I mean, when we travel, I think we're supposed to eat at every town because we would drive from Amarillo to Houston, 11, 12-hour trip if you keep going. But my dad knew every good little pie kitchen and every little diner all the way from here to there. So we stopped and ate all the time. And back then they had those glass things that had pies in them, and you'd order pie and they'd cut you a slice off and give it to you. And the pie is all right there. And I guess it's kind of enclosed to keep it moist,
right,
and stuff. And anyway, and so those always confused me. I'm going, what is that? I mean, it looked so good. It looked so good. It tasted so good. His favorite was lemon meringue.
Right.
But the Boston cream just it confused me because it was a pie. But it didn't look like pie.
Didn't look like pie. So we said, so Carol and I, we were talking about it, and we said, you know what? We're going to do some research. Well, guess what? It is a pie, but it's been around since 1856. Who knew? But it's described as a chocolate frosted, custard filled cake. But it's like it has an identity crisis because they actually call it Boston cream pie. It identifies as a pie. So we just thought that was the funniest thing. And depending on,
I didn't realize is she was saying, because she was looking at the picture of it, that it is in a pie pan. And of course, I was little. I remember it like maybe being on a plate like the cakes were.
Right.
But as I think about it, maybe it was in like a metal pie pan or a ceramic, but it's a cake baked in a pie pan. Right. Display in a pie pan.
For display, yeah. Because like I work at a restaurant and we order Boston cream pie and it comes in a pie pan. But there's a layer of cake and then the custard and then another layer of cake. And never even thought of, and then of course topped with chocolate. So, and this is Motivation Monday. And we're talking about treats.
And I'm motivated to go have me some chocolate. Find me a Boston cream pie. I don't know.
Boston cream pie. So the thing is I think the thing that we talk about is the most is that, you know what? Everybody has their thing. So what are you going to do to reward yourself? If you're having a bad day, try not to reward yourself with food because then that kind of spirals down. However, if you're having a good day and you like that day that Sherry and I, 10 days ago, Sherry and I went and we walked for almost 3 miles. I'm going to tell you, I did not feel bad about eating my 2 donuts. because that was lunch.
I can remember when I was young, in my 20s, and you go join the gym, and it's a
Yeah.
1-year contract it's like an ironclad contract.
Yeah.
You go 3 times and you quit,
And you're done.
but you still have to pay for the year. They didn't have those no harm, no foul deals back then.
Right.
But
Right.
I found out that I would go to the gym, and I loved the sauna. I loved the pool. I loved all that
Mm-hmm.
part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would be so hungry, I would go eat everything.
Thank you. Right.
And I didn't know as much about nutrition as I do now.
Right.
Know that, and this is a hint in case you don't know, that after you work out, you wait 30 minutes, but you need to eat a good high protein
Protein.
meal 30 minutes to an hour after you wait after you work out, because that is when your body is ready to uptake that protein and build the muscle and build the cells. So that's just a little added tidbit to put in your hat
Right.
this week. But yeah, I was horrible. I mean, I would eat anything and everything when I was young.
Oh,
So yeah.
yeah.
And back then there just wasn't that much known about nutrition.
Well,
It had
exactly.
been known. The old wives knew it,
Right.
but the new, smarter generations had thrown it all out. Now,
One of
I is an old wife.
Yeah. One of my things was that my mom, she always took after lunch, she always went outside and sat in the sun. Always, every day. Every day she went out and sat in the sun. And looking back, and now that I'm doing it because I know why, and I know why I'm doing it. Number one, it is so good for your mental well-being to go out, sit down, relax, and breathe in fresh air. Fresh air, not air-conditioned air. If you can go outside, and if it's a hot day, like in the summertime, if it's a hot day, yeah, sit in the shade, but try to be sitting in the sun for even just 10 minutes. It is so good to increase your vitamin D. Now, during the winter, I have one of those sun lights that I turn on my sunlight. It's a therapy sunlight because I live near Chicago. To sit outside, not so much. Not going to do it in the wintertime. And today, it's like when it's cold, even my dog doesn't like to go out. I mean, it's like, this is sad. We're getting to that point. We're getting to that point of the year. So, if you get yourself a sunlight, if you have any type of time when you are feeling less than, I don't know what the word is, it's not down, but you're just not quite as energetic because you're not, it's like, oh, but it's so cold outside and I don't want to go outside, and you're not sitting in the sun. Vitamin D is so important for you.
Yeah.
So get yourself, they are not expensive.
Well, and it's called SAD, SADD.
It is a thing.
Legit thing.
Seasonal disorder.
Yes. And my children, I had 3 boys, and boys are active, they need to be out. And we found my middle son was really struggling. And so he slept. This sounds horrible, but he slept in our master bathroom, our master bathroom. And it had a one of those bright heat lamps, and it was a smallish room. And back then masters were not quite as elegant as they are now. But
Right.
anyway, and he had a pallet, a nice soft cushy pallet. We just used one of the other bathrooms, and everything, but that's where he slept. And we realized that he was so much better off, so much happier when he did
Right.
that. Now, when we started homeschooling and he could be out during the day instead of sitting in a classroom, except for that 30-minute recess,
Right.
he didn't
Exactly.
need to sleep in there as much.
Right.
On really cloudy days or really rainy days, yeah, he knew that it felt better.
Right.
They didn't
Right.
have the lamps at that point
Right.
because it was just starting to even come onto
Right.
the
Right.
the
That they even knew about it.
yeah,
It
because
hasn't been
that's
that
how then
much.
people worked out in the field and they were
Yeah.
outside and stuff. So when we started homeschooling, he didn't need anymore. But as an adult, he comes home from work and he will
Mhm.
sit in front of that lamp and read or whatever he's
Right.
play with.
Yeah.
He sits in front of that lamp every day, and it
Yeah.
really, really
Hmm.
helps him.
Yeah.
And
And for, and
that's
for
down here in the Panhandle, and he was outside a lot. So now he
mhm.
lives up in Washington State, and it's a lot rainier and colder and more dreary up there. So I bet he is doing that
Mhm.
every night. I mean, who knows? He may be sleeping up under it again. His wife may or may
Right.
not like that idea, but
Right. But
if
it's so
what makes him
important.
happy makes him happy.
Yeah, that's like, well, my girlfriend, this is the one that I went for the walk with a couple of weeks ago. She went to the doctor one day, and this was, oh, maybe last spring. And he said, "Oh, you're going to have to go on to this." Now I don't even remember what it was, but it was something to raise one of her levels. And she said, "Well, how do I do that? Why do I have to take this?" He said, "Well, you have to raise this level." It was, and she was like, "But I can do that through being out in the sun." And he said, "Well," so she started going out in the sun. And so now that's one of the things that she does, that she does. She went back to the doctor 6 months later, and he said, "Oh, yeah, you're fine." Because
Yes.
she made a point of being out in the sun. So
Yeah.
if you don't have the sun, like for me, my sun lamp, like if I turned my computer around, my sun is right in front of me. So on those days, and I have a window beside me, so I get the sun.
Mhm.
If I'm not, if it's a cloudy day, I turn my light on, and while I'm working, you don't have to just sit there and be like a zombie in front
Right.
of it. Have
Right.
it on while you're working.
Yes. Yes.
Have it where it's convenient to what you're doing.
Well,
You
and
might
something,
have it in your kitchen. It
yeah,
doesn't matter where it is, where
something I
just to have it.
learned just the other day. And right now I'm not sure where I learned this, but you know, in the past, people would get up before the sun, and we
Mhm.
learned from Kirsty,
Oh, right.
Woody, who is an amazing, amazing scientist, that you go out and you face the sun as it crests the
The horizon.
the horizon. Don't look at the sun because that'll damage your eyes, but you can look away a little bit. But as it crests, it goes through all the colors of the rainbow, and it that charges all the mitochondria in your cells. Now,
Yeah.
mitochondria are the little car engines that
Like
run your cells. They are your energy batteries, and it
yeah.
charges them. And I think a lot when I'm out walking in the porch in the morning, how that is why so many people, they always say successful people get up early.
Get up
But
early.
stop and think. And that's why so many farmers live to an older age, and
Hmm.
ranchers, because they're out
Hmm.
there and they're working early in the day. And so this is great information. And actually, that information was in my book. But just the other day, I heard that in the evening, we always hear that, having your TV on keeps you from sleeping well, being
Hmm.
in front of the computer, being on your phone, all those things, the blue light is not good for you late at night because it will interrupt your sleep.
Hmm.
But just the other day, I heard, and it makes sense, that you need to turn off all the overhead lights in the evening. Because,
Hmm.
used to we would get up with the sun and go to bed with the sun, and
All right.
our rhythms were. When we have an overhead light on, our body and our mind thinks it's the sun. And I've always
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to do that.
overhead lighting because to me it's brighter. I would
This
tell Keith, I'm a child
right.
of the light and I like lots of light. But you turn that off and just have a lamp or two on in the room where you can still see, you can still read, you could still do whatever you're going to do.
Right.
But turn the overhead. I mean, Barbara's been
Overhead.
in my house. She knows that we have lots of overhead lights.
Lots. Yeah.
lots of red light. In fact, almost exclusively, but we do have lamps in every room
Right.
a little bit, you know, but I'm going to start practicing that and see how that does to help us.
We'll let you know.
Well, and think about it. When you turn that off, it's like you start relaxing.
Right.
And if you've ever
Right.
kind of think about it and try it for a few days, I noticed that lowering of the light, it's like, okay, the day's up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never put it
Mm-hmm.
into that. But yeah.
And speaking of that, one of the things that I have been doing much more regularly is putting my sound canceling earphones on and listening to a soothing, I mean, YouTube and Google are my friends. We know that. Talk about that all the time. But on YouTube, they have live stress reducing music. And I am finding that I am doing it in the morning to start my day so that I don't have, and it has made a difference. I'm starting out my day in like, because we automatically start thinking of like, oh, well, I've got to do this, 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 this. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to answer this. I've got to do this.
Mhm.
Well, if we can start out in a more peaceful mindset, yes, we still have to do all those things in our day, but
Mhm.
we don't have to start at the top of the stress level.
Well, and that's one of the reasons I like to do my quiet time first thing in the morning.
That's why I do
With the
my quiet. This has
songs and
now
it's
become part of my quiet time
well, but think about frequency, y'all. I
at
talk about
frequency.
frequency on here all the time. And if you
Yep.
want some free frequency, flower frequency drops, put it in the chat. I've
Yep.
got some free samples. Barbara tried them.
Oh, they're great. They're great. They're
But
amazing.
on the thing about the frequency, music will spiral you up or spiral you down. And we tend to like the music when we grew up, when we were teenagers, young
Mm-hmm.
adults.
Yep.
However, stop and think about music. I, I'm gonna tell on myself. I was raised in at the symphony and at musicals. My parents loved symphonies and musicals. I can remember at the Sound of Music when the two teenagers are out and I had this thought often, but that's probably the strongest time I had it. But I had it a lot because we went to a lot of musicals in all of my growing up years. But the young couple is out dancing
Mm-hmm.
in the gazebo, and I thought,
Right.
oh, how will I ever know the words to the songs and the dance steps? What will I do? Because I was just coming up to that age, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, oh, oh. But that was a bunny trail. But back to the frequency. That music and symphony
Mm-hmm.
music is very
Yes.
calming for the most
Right.
part. You can hear when it changes
Right.
as the oh, there's a bad person at the door, like
Right. Yeah.
movies had that in it back then. But think about the 60s. Most of that music was happy go lucky, upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
beach, lollipop,
Right.
whatever. And
Yes.
kind of got into
The
the
Beach Boys. Let's age ourselves. The
yeah, but it
Beach
got
Boys.
into the
Very first concert I ever went to.
and it got a little darker, red door, paint it black, that all those things. And it got darker and things kind of spiraled down a little bit. And then by the 80s or 90s, it was all the heavy metal and head banging and it spiraled
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more. So stop and think when you turn on music, what are you hearing?
Right. What are
Or
you feeling?
praise and
How does it
worshiping.
make you feel?
How does it lift you up? Even
Yeah.
old hymns out of the hymnal that are just praising and worshiping God, and tears just will
Mm-hmm.
come down your
Yeah.
cheeks because it's so beautiful.
Right.
Okay.
And it touches your soul.
Yes. So be aware. I mean, when you're in the car, do you have it quiet? That's what I usually do because the towers go in and out where I have to drive and stuff. But do you have it quiet or do you have on music or do you have on talk radio or
Mhm.
news?
Right.
Hey, talk about spiraling up and spiraling down. The news right now is
Oh
so
yeah.
negative that you
Yeah.
need to spiral up with a little good music after you hear the news. And I don't care what
Hmm.
channel you're on, but
Yep.
there's just so much going on and things happening. It's gonna be an interesting next few months. I will
Yep.
just say
But
that.
between now and the end of the year, and
Yeah.
and we're in the last
Quarter.
quarter of the year,
Mhm.
and boy, has this year gone fast.
It has.
Can't believe how fast it's gone.
It has. Yeah. It literally, it surprises me that was it was it August that we went to Red Rock?
August that we went, yeah,
No, 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 no. August was when we went to the
to
Tower
St.
of Heaven.
George, St.
No, we
George,
went in April to Red Rock.
to the retreat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, and that just seems like yesterday.
yeah,
Just like
yeah.
yesterday.
And and the funny thing is this year, like my the we all live together, but Cara and Brent, we have a trailer down at like a resort kind of thing that they leave it there, and except they're when they're going to go away, but we have a permanent spot, and they have a lovely lake. And they just do all sorts of activities. And I can remember saying to Car, like this year, I'm going to come down and spend a few days and just come and stay at the beach. Did I get there? No. And I'm now thinking, where has this year gone? And I
Yeah.
never even once got down there
Well, you spent
to
nearly a month on it on the road coming
but
down
I
here,
spent
going to St. George,
three
going
weeks.
back to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did 4,295 miles. I am
Gonna
just it
do it
was
again in January.
and we're gonna do it again in January.
But we're
Um
going to be better at recording and
we
sharing.
are yes, because we had such a good time.
Yeah.
And such a good time. And just pray for us that the weather is good.
Yes.
But you know what?
Southern
Come
Utah,
what
so
may.
it's a little more desert than.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be fun. We are going to have a blast. We are so looking forward to it. And so you're going to be hearing about that, of what we're going to be doing and all that kind of stuff. And but anyway, so if you had a piece of Boston cream pie yesterday, because a few weeks ago it was National Cinnamon Bun Day.
I know, I know. And I got all these emails saying, come in, it's National
The
Cinnabon
cinnamon
Day.
day.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, but it's 45 miles to go get my little inexpensive Cinnabon, even though I
yeah.
love
So
them. But
I did. I was good. I didn't have it, so
well,
mm,
and
but made up for it 2 weeks later when I went to for the apple cinnamon.
and I was going to buy some on our trip that
Yeah,
was our plan at one of our stops. And I went into the store and they did not have any.
and they
They
didn't have
did
any.
not have a single. I think this particular store, we stopped there because they have the Cinnabons, have a whole, it's a
Right,
truck stop, but there's a whole store and then
right.
and a restaurant.
Yeah,
Part of
right.
it is totally Cinnabon, and they were out. It was
And they were out.
kind of late in the day, and
Yeah.
they had.
I think, oh no, no, I take that back. I think they had one, but it's like that has been there all day. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
said, yeah, no,
And I think it
we're
was,
not going to spend our calories.
yeah, I think it was $10 for four of those little mini buns.
Yeah. And we just said, and they have been there. They look like they've been there a while. So we
I'm
said,
like,
no.
we're
So
not
we
gonna
were
do
good
that.
that day. We were,
We were. Of course, then we had ice cream twice that same day.
well, that's true. You see, now you told on us.
I did.
You
Oh,
told on
the
us.
one we've got to remember to stop there. We were on the Hopi Reservation in
Yes.
Arizona. And the crazy thing is, we were at an intersection. It took us 4 stops to be able to get water, go to the bathroom, get ice,
And get gas.
and get gas. 4 stops. Because some
It
didn't.
was interesting. to
Yeah,
say
it
the
was,
least.
and then the whole mask thing, which the Hopi
Yeah,
reservation, even though mask mandates had been ruled not necessary, the
yeah,
Hopi were still doing that, and they are their own country within our country.
yeah.
Okay. And,
So they could make their own rules.
yeah, the First Peoples can do what they want to, I mean, within reason. You still can't
Yeah,
murder and all that stuff. But anyway, probably much safer than some of the streets close to
right.
Barbara.
Yes, yes, it's true.
Anyway, but she came out of one place where she went in with two ice creams, and they were Blue Bunny.
Blue
But
bunny,
we've not found the same ice cream. It was the chocolate covered, but inside it had hunks of fudge,
but and
fudge crackers
caramel.
and
There was a
caramel.
and there was a layer of caramel inside. I mean, so today, obviously, we're having one of those, regressive day that you just don't talk about ever
Well,
because none of
okay.
the calories counted today.
Well, and so yeah, we're going to be really good. We're going to be really good. We're going to not celebrate anything today. No
Right? No,
excuse to celebrate other than
no, celebrate
celebrating that we won and didn't
that we went.
go crazy.
But so they were, and the funny thing is, I've never seen that flavor since.
No, and we stopped another time on the
And
road.
we stopped several
I think it
times.
was Albuquerque,
Yeah,
and looked for it. They had the brand, but they
they
just
had the
didn't
brand, but
know.
not that particular one.
Well,
And we
you
were
got to
like,
remember that place and stop there in
we're
January.
going to stop there in January. Yeah. So, anyways, everybody have an awesome day.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. We're the Mavens of Motivation. Today we were motivated to talk about food
Sugar.
and sugar. But you know what? That's one of the great things about, we all have our moments. And my dog is now trying to make me give her a treat. See, she's hearing it. I swear she knows when I'm on Zoom.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Feels those vibrations, that frequency.
See the vibration. But you know what? So if you're feeling like celebrating something, you'll have a treat. So what? Just don't do it every
Do
day.
it in moderation. Don't do
Do
it
it in
every
moderation.
day. If there's like a bowl of caramels there, eat one or two. Don't
Eat
eat
one
the
or two.
whole bowl.
Don't. Right.
I mean, moderation, moderation.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
guys, y'all have a
So
wonderful week. Put what you
have
want
a great
us to
week.
talk
We'll see you
about
next
down
week.
in the chat. We will be doing
Yeah.
our how do you survive the cold. We will be doing that soon. So watch for that. It'll be on our news breaks. So
Yeah.
anyway, y'all have a
Have a good one. Yeah.
bye.
Bye.